Okay, my name is Andrew Trail, and today I'm going to inform you about genetically modified organisms. They are a large part of our everyday lives. They affect the environment, the food, and us ourselves. The food we eat is one of the the main thing that they affect. More than likely, the food you are eating, that you either just ate, are eating, or are about to eat, more than likely, some part of it has been genetically modified. Most people don't really see it, or don't think about it, but a lot of what we eat is actually genetically modified. It's in almost everything that we eat, actually. I've done quite a bit of research, and I'm surprised about some of the effects that it has on our environment and everything else. Better get a If you get a better grip on all of this, let's start off with what it is and how it's produced. A GMO actually stands for genetically modified organism. Genes are taken from a bacteria or a virus, and they are inserted into all sides of foods. When doing it, the goal in doing this is to make foods more productive, and they're trying to make food or plants herbicide resistant. They're also more resistant to farming techniques, and you don't need to till the land as much, and you spend less money making more because of higher crop yields. In creating a GMO, the gene is inserted into the DNA of a single cell. The DNA is actually inserted into what is called the nucleus, and then the cell modifies itself. The cell then will start to divide, and it becomes a whole new plant. All of the new plants now have that new gene, so all of the plants are genetically modified. All in all, the genes are just simply they're taken from a bacteria and inserted into other plant cells in hopes that they become resistant to herbicides and are more productive, so that farmers don't have to spend as much and they don't have to till the land as much. Now that you know a little bit about what it is, let's talk about the foods it affects. There's high risk and low risk foods. High risk are from a process that involves organisms that we know that are actually genetically modified. Things like this are alfalfa, corn, and cotton. If you look at this picture, I don't know if you can see it. One side is genetically modified and the other is conventional corn. You really can't tell a difference. Let me try to get a better angle on this. This is the conventional, and this is the modified. Under the modified, you notice that there is a longer list of things. Under the modified corn, it states that there is 6% less pesticide. It produces enough calories to feed 88 million people more per year than the regular conventional corn that hasn't been modified. It has a 7.6% higher yield, and it has increased farmer income by 4.1 billion. High risk foods are found in not only food but alcohol and the artificial and natural flavorings. Some of the low risk foods are not from nor do they contain organisms that are known to actually be genetically modified. A couple of these are like lentils and spinach. The USD states that 94% of all soy is said to be genetically modified, and that 75% of the corn is 75% of the corn that we consume and grow is genetically modified. I didn't know that much soy had been genetically modified, but I also don't have a lot to do with soy. I have more to do with corn, and I figured corn would be a lot higher than soy because of how popular corn over soy is here in America. Now you know that most of the foods that we eat are in some way going to contain GMOs. Now that you know what they're in, what about the effects of the environment? Some of the harm, it can cause harm, such as toxicity. Bees and bees and butterflies, for example. It may also be toxic to non-toxic organisms. Pests are going to be able to adapt eventually, not just right away, but pests eventually will be able to adapt to pesticide and herbicides and become resistant eventually. Once they become resistant, they're going to take over, and we're not going to have a way to get rid of pests. And to me, in the end, it's just going to create another problem. Yes, it's good that they're resistant, but to get these plants that are resistant, you're going to have these pests that are resistant, and then the pests are just going to end up taking over once again. GMOs may also become persistent or invasive. The organisms that were originally here, that are supposed to grow here, have not been modified, but due to modifying so many organisms, eventually they're all going to take over and become invasive. It also affects the soil. Nutrients are not returned to the soil from the genetically modified foods the way it is from regular food that's not been modified. What would happen? What would it be like without GMOs? If you can see this, we have lower yields, higher greenhouse gas emissions, more land needs, and the food prices would also be higher. It's not saying that they're not good for our environment. They are good in ways that the farmers don't have to till the land, so in that way, it's a good thing, but in other ways, such as the pests and it becoming invasive, it's not. So it, just like everything else, has good things and bad. Hopefully y'all can better understand what a GMO is and how it affects our food, or more importantly, how it affects our environment, because how our environment has a lot to do with the way our food comes out. But now that you know some about what they are, how they work, and what they're in, or now you know, sorry. When it comes to the environment, we know that they can hurt the soil and could be toxic to animals because they're not used to it. They have never been presented with this type of organism to us or food to them. They don't know what it is. There's more than one GMO risk when it comes to food. I mean, there's high risk and there's low risk. Personally, I would rather know that my food has genetically modified organisms rather than them not labeling them and telling me that they do or they don't have them. I would rather know than not know. But then again, we've went all this time without knowing whether our food is or has been genetically modified, and we've been completely fine. So the next time you get groceries, just think about the food you're getting and whether or not it's been modified or if it's actually the original product. That's all I have for y'all today, but I hope y'all learned something.